Hello, welcome to this class. Today we'll be looking at powers of a number. Last time we looked at multiplication of numbers. Now, in these powers of a number, it's an application of multiplication. Now, powers of a number will introduce us to what we call index form of numbers, which will also help us to understand the concept of squares of a number and the cube of numbers, and so on. Now, having said that, let's take for example, we have a number, let's say 2 power 3. Now, this is called 2 raised to power 3. 2 raised to power 3. Now, this 3 becomes the power of the number 2. Now, this 2 here is always called the base number, while 3 is called power. You can call it power, you can call it index number, you can call it exponent. You either call it power, you call it index, or you call it exponent. Call it exponent number. Okay? So I can say, what is the index of 2 here? 3. What is the power of 2 here? 3. What is the exponent of 2? 3. Alright? So this is what we call powers of a number. You can see that 2 in this particular number has a power of 3. Now, another thing we need to have in mind is that every whole number has a power, but of power 1. If I have 5 just standing on its own, know you that 5 is of power 1. If I have 12 standing on its own as a number, know you that 12 is to power 1. And there are few things we need to know. Okay? There are few things we need to know about powers of a number. Let me call them basic rules. Basic rules. The number 1 rule says that any number raised to power 1 is that number. So if I have 12 to power 1, the answer is 12. Okay? This is one basic rule of powers of a number. Now, the second rule of powers of a number says that any number to power 0, let's say I have 5 raised to power 0, is equals 1. So these are the basic rules of powers of a number. Okay? Now, outside these two, every other one becomes an expansion of the power. And how do we expand the power of a number? For example, if I have 3 raised to power 4, to expand this, it simply becomes 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 in 4 places. So this is the expansion. But the basic rule for the powers of a number are these two. That any number raised to power 1 is that number, and any number raised to power 0 is 1. Okay? Okay? Okay, let me put it in writing. Let me put it in writing. Basic rules. Basic rule. Any number raised to power, any number raised to power 1 is that number. That's where we now have 12 to power 1 equal to 12. Okay? Okay? Then the second rule, rule number 2, says that any number raised to power to power 0 is 1. Any number raised to power 0 is 1, meaning that 5 to the power of 0 equals 1. Alright, so these are the basic rules of powers of a number. Okay, so let's look at expansion of powers of a number. Expansion, we call it expansion of powers of a number. Okay? Expansion of powers of a number, let's say examples. Examples. Expand the following. Expand the following. 1, 2 raised to power 2. Okay? Now if you notice here, we have 2 raised to power 2. 2 raised to power 2. And in order to expand, just like I said when I was explaining the basic rules of powers of a number, I said that when we expand numbers, we simply multiply the base. We multiply the base number in the number of the power. We multiply the base number in the number of times of the power. So since this is 2 raised to power 2, what is the number of the power? 2. So what do? We multiply the base number. The base number here is what? 2. So we multiply the base number in 2 places. So solution. 2 raised to power 2 simply means 2 times 2. And we are done. This is what we call expansion of powers of a number. Alright? Number 2, let's say I have 3 raised to power 5. Okay? Remember, it is to expand 3 to power 5 is multiply the base number 3 in the number of the power, which is 5. So we multiply 3 in 5 places. Solution. Please, 3 raised to power 5, if you do this 3 times 5, you are wrong. If you do this 3 times 5, you are wrong. It is not base times the power. It is base times itself in the number of places of the power. How the number of value of the power, we multiply the base number according to the number of value or according to the value of the power. Okay? So this simply becomes 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are done. Multiply 3 in 5 places. Example number 3. Let's say here I have a raised to power 3. Now a is a variable, now representing the base number. Okay? So what we simply do here is we multiply a in 3 places. So solution. A to power 3 becomes a times a times a. As simple as that. Alright? Let's say here I have c to power 7. C exponent 7, or C index 7, or C raised to power 7. And what does it simply mean? We simply do what? We multiply C in 7 places. So, C to the power of 7 is C times C times C times C times C times C times C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We multiply C in 7 places. This is simply how to expand the powers of a number. Okay? We multiply the base number in the number of places of its power. Okay? What if we have something like 2 raised to power 3 plus 4 raised to power 2? How do we do this? Remember, what we are simply doing is what? Expansion. So, solution. What do we need to do? We need to find what 2 raised to power 3 is in expansion, and it is what? 2 times 2 times 2. Then we need to find what 4 raised to power 2 is in expansion, which is simply 4 times 4. Okay? Therefore, 2 to the power of 3 plus 4 to the power of 2 will simply become 2 times 2 times 2 plus 4 times 4. Are you seeing how easy it is? Very, very easy. Alright? Now, if we have here, let's say, x to the power of 3 times y to the power of 4. Okay? We expand and multiply. Okay, let's look at this solution. What is the expansion of x raised to power 3? It becomes what? X times x times x. While y raised to power 4 becomes y times y times y times y. Y in 4 places. Therefore, x to the power of 3 times y to the power of 4 becomes x times x times x times y times y times y times y. Are you seeing it? So it is very simple and easy to do. Now let's look at how do we simplify the powers of a number. Simplifying the powers of a number involves 2 steps. The first thing to do in order to simplify the powers of a number is to expand the numbers. Then we do what? We multiply out. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Simplification of powers of a number. Simplification of powers of a number. Okay, example. Evaluate the following. Number 1, 4 raised to power 2. Like I said, in simplifying powers of a number, we do 3 things. Just 2 things. First, we find the expansion of the number. Second, we multiply out. So this is very simple. This is very simple. Solution. Solution. So 4 raised to power 2. What's the expanded form of 4 raised to power 2? Becomes what? 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is what? 16. And that becomes our answer. So if we simplify 4 raised to power 2, our answer is 16. You see what we did? First of all, write 4 raised to power 2 in expanded form, which is 4 times 4. Then after expanding them, you multiply. 4 times 4, 16. Example number 2, let's say 2 raised to power 3 Solution. As usual, the first thing to do here is to expand the number. And for us to expand 2 raised to the power 3, it becomes 2 times 2 times 2. Now we can take these two together and multiply. 2 times 2, 4 times 2. We bring down this. 4 times 2, 8. Meaning that 2 raised to the power of 3 equals 8. Are you seeing it? Alright? Number 3. Let's say we have 2 raised to the power of 4 plus 3 raised to the power of 2. Same thing we do. 2 raised to the power of 4 is what? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 in 4 places, right? Okay? So let's simplify 2 raised to the power of 4 first. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 2, 8. 8 times 2, 16. 16. Then we come over to 3 raised to the power 2, which is what? 3 times 3. 3 times 3, 9. Therefore, 2 raised to the power of 4 plus 3 raised to the power of 2 equals 2 raised to the power of 4 is what? 16 plus 3 raised to the power of 2 is what? 9. 16 plus 9 is what? 25. Therefore, you can now notice that 2 raised to the power of 4 plus 3 to the power 2 equals what? 25. Alright? Example 4. Let's say here we have 5 raised to the power of 2 minus 2 raised to the power of 3. 5 raised to the power of 2 minus 2 raised to the power of 3. So the same thing. We do what? We simplify 5 to the power 2, simplify 2 to the power 3, then use the simplified form of 5 to the power 2 to subtract the simplified form of 2 to the power 3. So 5 to the power 2 equals what? 5 times 5. And 5 times 5 is what? 25. 2 to the power of 3 is what? 2 times 2 times 2. 2 in 3 places. And 2 in 3 places is what? We've solved it here. 8. Therefore, 5 to the power 2 minus 2 to the power 3 is equals 25 minus 8. I see it. And 25 minus 8 is what? 17. Therefore, 5 to the power 2 minus 2 to the power 3 equals 17. So that is it about simplification of powers of a number. Alright? You see how interesting this particular concept is. It's just two things. One, expand the numbers. Two, simplify the number. And simplifying the number means to multiply out. After expanding the number, you multiply. And by now, I believe we know our multiplication table. So you see why I said in the beginning that powers of a number is simply an application of multiplication. Alright? Okay. So, you do this for me. You do this for me. We come here. Homework. Number 1, expand the following. A 4 raised to the power 5, B Z raised to the power 4, C 2 raised to the power of 10, D 3 raised to the power of 6, 3 raised to the power of 6 divided by 4 raised to the power 3. Okay, number 2, simplify the following powers. Let's see, 4 raised to the power 1, I 103 raised to the power 0, I simplify 2 raised to the power 4 plus 3 raised to the power 2. Simplify IV, simplify 5 raised to the power 3, and V, simplify 6 raised to the power 2 minus 6 raised to the power 1. Let me put plus 6 raised to the power 1 minus 36 raised to the power 0. Alright, so solve this for me. Here it says expand the following, expand 4 raised to the power 5, z raised to the power 4, 2 raised to the power 10, 3 raised to the power 6 divided by 4 raised to the power 3. Remember, you are not doing anything here. You are only writing the numbers in expanded form. Then number 2 says simplify the following powers. 4 raised to the power 1, I gave you 2 basic rules. So when you look at them, you know what to do. 103 raised to the power 0, 2 raised to the power 4 plus 3 raised to the power 2. Remember here, expand, multiply out and add. 5 raised to the power 3, expand and multiply. 6 raised to the power 2 plus 6 raised to the power 1 minus 36 raised to the power 0. Expand and simplify all of them, then do your addition and subtraction. Alright? Now, I'll be expecting this homework. You solve, snap it, and send it to me so I can be able to mark you right or wrong. Then point out where we are getting confused. Alright, so this brings us to the end of this class. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in our next class. Bye.